It gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker for the 71st Annual Opening Convocation, the Honorable John Charles Thomas. Judge John Charles Thomas is a retired justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia. He earned the Bachelor of Arts degree in American Government with distinction from the University of Virginia in 1972. Later, he earned the Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Virginia School of Law in 1975. Judge John Charles Thomas has had a remarkable career. You know, when you hear people tell you it's not where you came from but where you're going, this is the embodiment of that. He was born in the projects over in Norfolk, yet he was the first African American and youngest judge ever to sit on the Supreme Court of Virginia. In the role of Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia, he ruled on thousands of appellate matters, addressing the full range of Virginia law, including contracts, property, trusts and estates, taxation, and many more. He is admitted to practice before the Supreme Court of Virginia, the Washington, D.C. circuits, the Supreme Court of the United States, and the 4th, 6th, 9th, 10th, and 11th U.S. Courts of Appeals. Judge Thomas is a AAA certified mediator and arbitrator and serves on the AAA panel of commercial arbitrators as well as the AAA panel on international arbitrators. Since June 2005, he has been a judge of the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland. A profound speaker and lecturer, Judge Thomas has delivered speeches across the country and around the world. Not only is he one of the great legal minds of our time, but he is an outstanding poet who recently presented his work of poetry at Carnegie Hall. Committed to his career, Judge Thomas has authored several books, and he is a member of several boards, including the Board of Visitors at the College of William and Mary, the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, and the Virginia, Richmond, Old Dominion, National, International, and American Bar Associations. Judge John Charles Thomas is currently a senior partner with Hutton & Williams, a law firm with more than 800 lawyers practicing in 19 offices across the United States, Europe, and Asia. Additionally, I want you to know that he and I have been close friends for a long, long time. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 2013 Opening Convocation speaker, the Honorable John Charles Thomas. John Charles.
Good morning. It's always a profound joy for me to come back to Hampton University. Though my degrees come from other places, I thought I would check before I came here today and look at the history of my family, the Sears family of Norfolk, my wife's family, the Waldens of Suffolk. Since 1933, we have had almost 36 people to attend Hampton. I came here as a baby. I've been singing the alma mater since I was 4 years old. Back in 1954, I had the baby pirate t-shirts and all that as I grew up. But it really is something to see this assembly, to be in Ogden Hall for convocation, and to look back over time for what convocation means, to try to bring it forward for what it means for us now. Convocation comes from the Latin convocatio, and it means a call to come together. Basically, from back in the 14th century, it was the time that the ecclesiastical body said, we want everybody here, every part of the church to come together. It was first used at Oxford in England the way we use it today. And so when the president of a university sends out the call to convocation, what he is saying to you is, I want to see the whole university in one place. I want to see the administrators, the scholars, the faculty, the staff, the students, the parents, all the stakeholders. I want to see you in one place. The sense of convocation is something like mobilization. And mobilization is not something that we do lightly. When we want to mobilize somebody, that means we got some work to do. And so we call convocation, the president calls convocation so that at one moment in time, you can look around and you can say, this is what Hampton looks like on the pulse of a morning in September 29, 2013. Right here, right now, here is Hampton alive today. And seeing Hampton alive on the pulse of the moment is something to see. To see all the scholars in their robes and their hoods and all the discipline. To see the flags outside that represent all the nations in the world that are part of this light that is Hampton. To be in this place, which is a focal point of freedom for our people since before the Civil War. Right here, right now, is something to be a part of Hampton. But you know what? Think about what it must mean for the people just getting here. For the freshmen, where are the freshmen? Raise your hands. Let me tell you what, there you go. Let me tell you what convocation ought to mean to you. When the president sends out the message to convene the university, that means that if you answer that call, you must be part of this university. And so if you didn't get it when you got the letter saying you were admitted, if you didn't get it when you moved into your dorm, if you didn't get it the first time you walked down by the river, today you got to get it. Today you have to recognize that you are part of something bigger than yourself. That you are no longer a young man or a young woman from LA or from Chicago or from Atlanta or from all the places that you might come. Today you got to say, I'm part of this. I'm part of Hampton. I'm part of history. Yes, you are. And it ought to mean something in your lives. It ought to mean that you walk with your head a little taller. You walk with your back a little straighter because you have come from different parts and now you are part of this holistic thing, this Hampton University. But you know what's so powerful? The Hampton that we see can make you cry. The beauty of this Hampton, the beauty of this campus, the stewardship of Dr. Harvey and Mrs. Harvey to make this place stay as beautiful as it was when I first saw it 60 years ago. That's a job and that's a wonderful thing, but you know what? The Hampton that you can't see is the one that's going to be in your soul when you leave here. The Hampton of Mary S. Peake in 1861, teaching under a tree, because she knew that learning was the important thing for our people coming out of slavery. The Hampton in 1868 that first started teaching the teachers who taught all the black people in the South. There is not a southern state that was not affected by the teachers that came from Hampton after the Civil War. The lifting up of the whole nation starts right here. And did you know that even Dr. King's mama went here? Huh? Did you know Alberta Williams King took her teaching certificate from Hampton in 1924? Well, can you imagine a mother who came to Hampton and saw Hampton not teaching her babies about what she saw at Hampton? Oh yeah, Hampton is probably deep into all of the civil rights movement because mama was here. Hampton is some kind of special. Hampton is a glorious place to be. Hampton is the thing that we have needed all along, and Hampton has always been about sharing, learning and sharing, learning and giving, learning and uplifting, learning and taking it back home. That's what Hampton has always been about. And then Hampton, even through the ages, has been proactive. It's been at the top of the wave. I can remember when President Reagan fired all of the air traffic controllers and things had to change in our nation. And guess what Dr. Harvey did over here at Hampton? He created a course where you could come to school and learn how to be an air traffic controller. That's brilliant. Everybody doesn't see the world that way. And so you come to a place where people are thinking all the time about what is the next step that we might take. And you know cancer ravishes all our communities. But what did Dr. Harvey do? He found out about proton therapy, and here you got a proton therapy treatment center at a university that does not have a medical school. I want you to know the people with medical schools scratch their heads and go like, how come I didn't think of that? But that's the nature of Hampton. Hampton is always thinking, always engaging, always trying to do the best it can. And then the part I like so much about Hampton is that even in what we instill in the children, what does the alma mater say? Oh, Hampton, we never can make thee a song except as our lives do the singing, in service that will thy great spirit prolong and send it through centuries ringing. That's telling y'all something, students. For the seniors who get to put their robes on there, that's telling you that Hampton is not a sit-down, be quiet place. Hampton is a place of active service, in service that will, not lip talk that will, not thinking that will, not musing that will, but putting your hands on it and getting the job done. That's what Hampton is. And in doing that, Hampton is basically living up to the second law of thermodynamics. Now, I don't guess you thought you'd come to convocation and talk about physics. But the second law of thermodynamics is the law of the conservation of matter. Where's the physicist in here? It is the law that says a system to which no energy is applied will devolve into chaos. Am I not right, Professor? And what that means for you here is this. Hampton, on the pulse of the moment, has brought us to where we are today because of the actions and activity and the heart and soul and the spirit and drive of the people who have gone before. But now it's your time. Now, seniors, is your time, because Hampton won't live unless you live. Hampton won't be unless you make it. The world won't change unless you lay your shoulder to the wheel and make a difference. You got to be pushing all the time, striving all the time, because if you push to the top of the mountain and you stop, guess what will happen? You'll slide right back down. A system to which no energy is applied will devolve into chaos. And so I say to all of you today, that it is so lovely to be at one of the most beautiful places in the world to study. And I want you to know, I'm not saying that lightly. Yeah, I've been around here since I was a baby, and Hampton was always pretty to me. But in the 60 years since I first came here, I have taught at the University Center in Dubrovnik in Croatia. I have seen the Book of Kells in the library at Trinity University in Dublin. I have been at the London School of Economics. I have walked the yard at Harvard. I have seen the lawn at UVA. I've been in the sunken gardens at William and Mary. But Hampton still is one of the most beautiful places in the world to study. And so, you come to an environment of scholars that have been part of the change of history for our people since the beginning of the Union. You come to a place that is beautiful and tranquil and has the resources to help you. You come to a place that's been teaching and lifting and shedding light all the time, and your teachers will tell you in many words, here's one way to say it, that the candle that lights another candle burns no less brightly. Do y'all hear that? If you have one candle and share the light, you just make more light. Your light doesn't dim. And so when the light of Hampton is shared with others, the light of Hampton grows all around the world. And so that makes me want to tell you what the poet in me would say. Here's my poem. It's called Light the Soul. I recited this on stage at Carnegie Hall. It's for a moment just like this. Light lay quietly at the beginning, till it was called into action by God. Then it split the darkness, warmed the cold, brought motion to the stillness, touched our souls. And they say there is light at the end. As we brace ourselves for the final journey, the word is there is light even then. Light that blinds you, binds you, then sets you free. From Alpha to Omega, the light shines through. From dawn to dusk, it orders what we do. By particle and wave, it prompts the birds to sing. By pulse and reflection, it points out the way. Light can lift depression, dispel despair, bring hope to the weary, lead us from fear. Light can raise up emotions, quiet the storm, beckon us from rolling seas into the calm. We learn by light, we grow by light, we sit in the dark, transfixed by its sight. And as the light flickers, our hearts respond. We can see the connections, we can feel the bonds. It has been given to some to handle the light, to mold it, to craft it, to bend it to right. It has fallen to some to sculpt what we see, to sharpen, to brighten, to make it run free. To those who would hold light in their hands, there is much to remember, to understand. In the right light, love can shine. In the right light, we can leave wrong behind. By the light, there is good we can know. In the light, justice can grow. Oh, Hampton, a thought sent from heaven above. God bless you. Don't make me start reciting poetry in here. I got. Doc Harvey said I can do one more poem. I'm gonna do one, but this is not even mine, but this is something for professors and teachers and students. This is Longfellow talking to you now. He said that all are architects of fate, working in these walls of time, some with massive deeds and great, some with ornaments of rhyme. Nothing useless is or low, each thing in its place is best, and what seems but idle show strengthens and supports the rest. For the structure that we raise, time is with materials filled. Our todays and yesterdays are the blocks with which we build. Truly shape and fashion these. Leave no yawning gaps between. Think not because no one sees that such things shall remain unseen. In the elder days of art, builders wrought with greatest care each minute and unseen part, for the gods see everywhere. Let us do our work as well, both the unseen and the seen. Make the house where gods may dwell beautiful, entire, and clean, lest our lives are incomplete, standing in these walls of time, broken stairways where the feet stumble as they seek to climb. Build today then, strong and sure, on a firm and ample base, and ascending and secure shall tomorrow find its place. Thus alone can we attain to those turrets where the eye sees the world as one vast plain and one boundless reach of sky. Hampton, come on and build some more.